This cast of the Apollo Belvedere is prominently displayed in the Mary Grand Gallery of the Wilcox Museum, along with the Venus de Milo and Hermes and Baby Dionysus. The piece is based on an original statue in the Vatican Museum in Rome. The Apollo Belvedere has been part of the Vatican collection since 1508 and was first acquired by Pope Julius II. For centuries, this piece was considered to be a marble copy of a Greek bronze original by the sculptor Leocares, dating to around 330 BC. The Apollo Belvedere has always been greatly admired, but owes its fame particularly to the 18th century art historian Johann Winckelmann, who wrote, "Of all the works of antiquity that have escaped destruction, this statue of Apollo represents the highest ideal of art." Today, however, most scholars consider the Apollo Belvedere a Roman-era recreation or adaptation in Greek style, and date him to around AD 130, during the time of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, who ruled from 117 to 138. The god Apollo moves forward majestically and seems to have just released an arrow from the bow which he originally carried in his left hand. The extension of the arm into space is a tour de force of the stone carver's craft, not least because it also supports the weight of a cloak around the neck and along the left arm. Its curving folds are unsupported between shoulder and wrist. Other versions of Apollo, such as this Greek bronze from the late 6th century BC, were not nearly as adventurous. In fact, the arms of the original statue do not survive, so we cannot be absolutely sure how to reconstruct them. This photograph shows the original sculpture, all that survives, that is. Notice that the left arm and the right arm are broken off. Here in this photograph, showing the original again, note the restorations of the left arm and the right arm. If you look closely, you can even see the seams between the original marble and the restored arms, also made of marble. But we can be pretty sure that Apollo held a bow in his outstretched left arm, since looped over the right shoulder and under the left arm is a belt or baldric that supports the quiver of arrows behind Apollo's right shoulder. Viewed from the front, the turn of Apollo's head to his left side shows off his strikingly classical style profile to best advantage. The other features of the head are equally distinctive. The long hair is gathered at the back of the head and drawn up into a knot with trailing ends tied above the forehead. The famous profile of the statue has symbolized fortitude and determination, even in modern times. Here, Apollo's profile appeared on marketing materials for the Apollo 17 lunar mission in 1972. The controversy surrounding the original date of the statue reached its climax in the 1980s, when a scholar of ancient footwear declared unequivocally that the elaborate sandals worn by Apollo are Roman and not Greek. That seemed to have solved the mystery, although scholars still cannot agree on when the statue was made in the Roman period, only that it was at least in part based on earlier Greek models. Our Wilcox cast was made from the original statue before repairs and changes were made to it in the early 20th century. Like many famous ancient sculptures, the Apollo Belvedere has been taken apart and put back together again several times by modern restorers and conservators. During the most recent repair and restoration work, that occurred in 1981 and 82, the weight of the statue was placed more correctly on the right leg than it had been before. And if you look closely at these two images, the original on the left looks a little lighter than our cast does on the right, since more weight rests on the right leg. So the original sculpture on the left was repaired and restored in 1981-82. Just to be clear, before that, it looked like our cast does today, shown on the right. Starting in the 1550s, the uncovered male genitals of statues in the Vatican collection were covered with metal or white marble fig leaves. At the time, it was thought that Christian audiences would be more comfortable in the presence of otherwise naked Greek and Roman statues if the genitals were not visible. Some particularly offensive statues and objects were completely hidden from public view in secret storage rooms and galleries. Eventually, social mores changed again, as they tend to do, and in the 20th century, most of the Vatican's fig leaves were removed. The Apollo Belvedere's fig leaf wasn't removed until 1981-82, at the request of the organizers of a large museum exhibit here in the United States in 1983, featuring some of the Vatican's best-known works of art. Just to review some of the enigmas of the Apollo Belvedere, the statue was found in Rome, perhaps in the late 1400s, early 1500s, but exactly when it was found and where it was found is still unknown today. Number two, once thought to be a copy of a Greek bronze original of about 300 BC. Today, we're not really sure exactly the date, but it's agreed, at least, that the statue was made in the Roman period, probably around AD 130. The Roman sandals provide the best evidence for the Roman era date. The statue depicts the god as a hunter, but what's missing from the composition? Was he really holding a bow and arrow or not? Was the statue originally standing alone by itself, or was it part of a group? Perhaps Apollo's sister Artemis was nearby. We just don't know. And finally, the genitals were covered by a fig leaf from approximately 1650 to the early 1980s. Thank you.